Okay, I think we can get started. So welcome everyone to what is our spring edition of our Helix Admin Forum. We've got a corker of a session lined up for you today with some amazing guest speakers. We're going to be discussing the topic of AI and specifically HelixGPT, which in case you aren't aware is our agentic AI capability that we have right at the heart of the Helix platform. I think it's fair to say right off the bat that most of us, if not all of us, are under a bit of pressure to start using AI into our day-to-day jobs to help us to be more proficient. I also think it's fair to say that it can be quite a challenge to figure out what are the AI use cases that are worth your time versus potentially what those that are more superfluous. And what we're going to show you today is some AI use cases that sit right at the core of your service management function that are both tangible in the sense that you can unlock lots of value from them, and also they're very accessible in that, as we're going to hear from the folks from DNV, they managed to go from development into production in just a matter of weeks. The other thing that I think is very interesting is we're also going to be discussing the topic of data. And it's become a bit of a cliche, but AI is only good as the data that it sits on. And we're going to specifically discuss DNV's approach to getting their knowledge up to scratch and how they want to continually improve it as they continue with their HelixGPT journey. So really hoping that you enjoy this one. My name is Jamie Swales. I'm a sales manager based out of the UK, and I've got the absolute pleasure of being joined by an amazing cast of guest speakers. We've got Jagoda, John and Pratik from the DNV team who are going to be leading our customer story. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story today. And we've also got the amazing brain of Ankita from our solution engineering team. And what's particularly great about having Ankita on this session is that she's been involved with the rollout of these HelixGPT use cases at DNV. So really looking forward to getting your insights on this, Ankita. For those of you that have been before, welcome back. For those of you that are here for the first time, welcome and thank you for joining. This is how we like to structure our session. So we spend the bulk of the time on the left-hand side here within the customer story. So this is where we hear from you guys, our wonderful customers, about a particular challenge that you are facing and how you've used Helix to help you to overcome that and all the great stuff that comes with it. What was the approach? What were the lessons learned? What do you want to do next? It's a great opportunity to learn from others across the Helix community. We also do what we call Tech Corner. So this is where someone from solution engineering will come on and show a cool new use case. What we're going to do today is to merge these slightly in the sense that the use case we want to show you in Tech Corner, DNV are already in the process of looking to roll this out. So Ankita and John are actually going to demo that use case within the DNV environment. To mention the quiz as well, so we like to have a quiz towards the end. This is a quick fire, fastest finger first will get a prize. The questions are going to be based on the customer story. We've got a good audience here today. We like to make it interactive. You have any questions or any comments that you'd like to make, please make those into the chat and we'll field those as we go through. Before we get stuck in, I just want to level set very quickly as to what our HelixGPT strategy is, particularly from the service side. And there's four main personas that we're really looking to target with use cases across HelixGPT. The first is that of the requester or the end user, the person who consumes your IT or your enterprise service that you're managing on Helix. And we are wanting to take this from sort of portal and a form-based approach to a hyper-personalized conversational style interaction where you can prompt the resources and the knowledge that you need to better self-serve. The second set of use cases sit for the fulfiller or the agent, and this can affect multiple different roles, but we want to take this from form-based approach to interaction with potentially lots of different browsers open to pushing the right information to the right person at the right time. Is there better risk information we can push to a change manager? Is there an incident trend we can push to a problem manager? Is there knowledge that we can curate or even create for a knowledge manager? Is there resolution data that we want to push to someone who's trying to resolve a case, etc., etc.? And there's a big plethora of use cases that we already have released or we're in the process of releasing within HelixGPT. The data analyst, this is for anyone who wants to analyze information within, think, dashboards or reports. So we want to help you to identify trends, provide insights that's going to drive continual service improvement in whatever you're doing. And then last but not least, that of the admin or the developer. So looking to have a conversational style approach to generating and to tweaking things like workflows, UIs, datasets. We're going to be honing in today on a use case within the requester area with the Employee Navigator. So that's what Jagoda, John and Pratik are going to talk predominantly about. The use case that we're going to show within Tech Corner is called the Service Collaborator that sits within this area of the fulfillers. So hopefully that's clear. If anyone would like to learn more about HelixGPT in general, reach out to your account team, or if you're unsure who to reach out to, you can reach out to me and I'll leave my contact details at the end of this session. So with that being said, I'm going to hand the floor over to Jagoda, John and Pratik.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you very much, Jamie. So I'll let myself also take over the screen. I hope you'll see my slides shortly. Just let me know once you... Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect, thank you. And I'll first maybe say a big welcome, and I'm very happy also and excited to have this platform to share a bit about the DNV experience and also introduce our company a little bit to the audience. So indeed, we'll start with a quick introduction of our company, then also explain a little bit of what GSS, meaning Global Shared Services, stands for, a few words about that. Then we'll dive into and take a look back at the big momentum that we had those 2 years ago in 2023, which also created the foundations for the journey that we are now taking with HelixGPT, which naturally will be the majority of today's presentation on our site, including the demo that we hope that will be very exciting and interesting for all of you on this call. So without further delay, when it comes to our company, DNV is a global independent assurance and risk management company. We support multiple customers across the globe, so we operate on multiple countries. And the company, behind the company, we have over 17,000 employees, also hired in different locations. When it comes to the main areas in which our company operates, it's mostly focused around ship and offshore classification advisory, but also very much about around energy advisory, again, certification, inspection, monitoring. And we also built strongly on our position within security, cybersecurity software and digital solutions, plus supply chain and product assurance operations. And all of that, within our company, those business areas are supported by our GSS, so our global shared services that are represented by 2 global centers. One global center is located in Poland and the second one in India, Pune. And we operate in the model with close cooperation between global centers, the mentioned one with the regional centers of GSS as well. So when it comes to this GSS, and our scope of the services that we offer to our internal customers, the main services are around finance, HR, real estate management and procurement, and of course also IT. Apart from those common services, we also provide our customers and the advisory services around, for example, project management, mergers and acquisition, or for example, around data analytics. And all of that, since the offer of GSS is quite broad, this is very important for us that our internal customers have an easy access to all of our services. And this message, this idea stood very much behind our big momentum and the decision of the relaunch of the DWP portal that took place in 2023. Our portal, our DWP portal, is called MyGSS. You might have seen it on some of the previous presentations held by DNV. But indeed, that was a very big momentum for us back in 2023. Around June, we have relaunched the portal, and the approach that we took back then was also following this piloting solution with gradual scaling of the audience within the company. And the reason why I'm also mentioning that you will probably see some similarities to this approach with the one that we follow now with HelixGPT. But this moment around MyGSS relaunch was crucial for us because, not as I mentioned, we wanted for our customers to have easy access, this one-stop shop for all the services from GSS, but we really also wanted to increase the self-service presence, and this approach was crucial for us as MyGSS was to represent this approach as well. And then at that time, we also implemented KCS for knowledge management. So you see that, we were, our plans and ambitions was very much not only about having one place where people would go and just submit requests to GSS for support, but we were really taking the step on our ambitions and plans to allow customers to benefit from tier 0 as well as self-service. And after this time, we already learned that while the platform itself it operates, people are using it. We still have some job to be done, and definitely the areas that I've stressed here on the self-service and knowledge are the main ones that we still feel like, okay, we need to have some improvements here. We want this to be utilized much more. And also we knew that it was really hard to keep the momentum around knowledge creation, which I know that it's a struggle for many companies with publishing the articles, keeping them updated, and really keeping the engagement that was present at the moment of relaunch, to keep it as part of operations, that people are equally engaged in maintaining the knowledge. So we knew that those areas are something that we want to keep exploring and developing, and definitely that was the reason why when we learned about HelixGPT, we saw a big potential in that. We saw that this can be an answer for us and a solution that we should explore to really emphasize those two elements and create another momentum for them. And indeed, that opened the door. The HelixGPT from BMC opened the door to our journey that started quite early, if I may say, because we had a pleasure to also be part of the design partnership with BMC. So the journey has started for us on the topic at the very beginning of 2024. With the exchange of ideas and some demo sessions. But then I hope that some of you also were present on the Stockholm conference last year that BMC was holding, and after that we came back and we knew that we really want to make this step forward, and we really want to explore this feature of BMC HelixGPT for DWP portal and for our customers. So we enabled it in dev, so in testing environment in November. And back then we asked ourselves, like, okay, we have two options. We either now kind of sit behind closed doors within the product team. We have the out of the box configuration, but we now try to test it from all angles. We try to adjust it to our potential needs. We try to again encourage people on the to work more on the knowledge articles. We try to do it again, or we take a different approach. And we said to ourselves, like, how would it work if we actually make this quite brave movement, but enable it and out of the box configuration after basic validation, we enable it to our GSS audience. So people who are, when you think about this, also knowledge workers, right? They are the people who stand behind knowledge creation, but they are at the same time potential user persona. So what if we enable it very, very early to them? And we, by that, keep developing the solution and adjust it to our needs based on the real feedback from the users rather than on our assumptions of those needs. So indeed, that's as you can already probably guess, we decided to take the option 2. We will go with option 2. And we did the soft launch of HelixGPT on the virtual agent in mid-December last year. And as I mentioned, we limited the feature only to GSS audience. So we also operated in quite, I would say, safe environments with this important element that these are the people who are also responsible for the knowledge creation. So all of that, the approach that we took relied heavily on feedback, right? Because we knew that we're not releasing something that is fully adjusted to our needs, that we tested it from all possible angles. So we knew that users' feedback will be of highest importance and highest value for us. So we needed to make sure within this time between enabling in production and between the dev environment, we knew that we need to be well prepared in terms of feedback reporting. And we also need to agree on the process, what we will do with this feedback, right? Because one thing is to receive feedback, the other thing is to have a plan on how you will address it. So we agreed on the responsibilities, we agreed on how we will cascade it to relevant teams if the feedback concerns knowledge. So we had this plan established. Plus, of course, we really needed also to focus on users' engagement, right? Because you enable the feature, but we need to make people start using it. So we try to really promote it by sharing the news on the global channels, including global town halls for the whole GSS community. We have posted some marketing materials as well on the Teams channels. We used our representatives from all the streams that you saw, like HR, finance, proc, and IT. We used those representatives to also cascade it further. Plus, we organized very practical demo sessions for the users. So that also created a momentum at the beginning that you have a feature available and straight away someone gives you a demo session and you can straight away work on it. This is already something available to you. So that on the feedback and change management part, but just to maybe say a few words on the approach that we took, because when I say that feedback was crucial for us, I'm really maybe not even emphasizing it enough, because feedback loop was something that was our essence when it comes to the approach. We really thought that, with the soft launch, this is a great occasion to work in this loop of using the feature, reviewing it, sharing feedback, and then based on it, improving. That way, you know that you're indeed improving the things that you already heard from your users that they needed, that they see those gaps. And taking the example of the big part, right, on the knowledge, which we know that we will be heavily impacted. The experience of using the HelixGPT will be heavily impacted on the knowledge quality, because we also agreed that we will have HelixGPT limited when it comes to the data source to knowledge articles only. So we knew from the very beginning that by enabling it, we kind of also initiate a review process, a quality check process of our knowledge database, right? So we were also very clear in communicating this to the audience that, that any solution and that any AI solution is as good as the data behind it, right? This is also what Jamie already mentioned at the beginning. So we were also emphasizing this message, because one thing is talking about this, right? Telling people you need to work on knowledge. It's important that we improve those articles and we keep them up to date. But it's totally a different thing when you actually experience it as a user. When we now have GSS agents, GSS employees using the feature and seeing that the response that they receive from what we called it My GSS chatbot is not what they hope for. This is usually a feedback, whether to either to their colleagues in a different team, or maybe sometimes even to the team that they are working in, and this knowledge and the response relied on the knowledge that is within their hands. So that was also a way for us to trigger this very much demand-driven work on knowledge, but also to give people this feeling of why we need to work on knowledge, why it is so important. Because definitely we see that, and I will reflect on it a little bit on the summary as well. But this is definitely a different point of view when you create an article from the back end. You just create and publish it, but it's a totally different story when you actually use a feature that provides you guidance based on your based on those articles. So this allowed them to really step into customer shoes. But naturally, knowledge was one big area. The second one was that we knew that since we basically went out with the out of the box configuration without special adjustments or many weeks of work from the technical side, we knew that the feedback around technical requirements, some additional needs, some additional development will come. And this is indeed something that we also included in this feedback loop. So when we receive feedback from the users, we also assess whether it's something for our product team, our IT representatives to look into, or this is something for us to consult with BMC and to see how we can change or improve something. So this feedback loop indeed focuses on, we see already those two main areas: knowledge and technical requirements, which definitely, if both of those elements of the puzzle, they are meeting requirements and the quality is good enough, then we definitely will have this feeling of readiness to scale it further to our customers. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. I'm pretty sure that you're quite eager to, on one hand, hear our reflections from this time, because it's been almost equally 3 months now. But before that, I think it would be very nice also to see how this My GSS chatbot, HelixGPT in our case, how it looks and what it offers to the users. So we today have John with us, who will show you a quick demo, which I hope that it will be very exciting for you. So John, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jagoda. For those who haven't met me before, my name is John Rolls. I am based from the UK, but based in Gdynia, in Poland. I've been working for DNV for the past 10 years in IT support, and I am currently as the ITSM Application Service Manager, but also partner lead architect with my colleague Pratik, who's in the call as well. Just quick short note, we've been working with BMC for the last year on the design partnership with the GPT, and it's been good collaboration. And from what BMC have delivered at this point of time now is to a stage where you can deploy, configure and deploy in a day the GPT. So this is something that is a lot much more improved than it was when we started this journey with BMC. So the documentation much improved, configuration is a lot easier, and it's much easier to deploy. So from the beginning, yeah, documentation was the issues, but and we do find sometimes issues with the findability of knowledge, but the majority of that is down to the quality of the knowledge and not actually to the GPT itself. There's a few recommendations. I will put that in the chat at the end of the meeting, and I'll quickly give you a demo of what we've been doing so far. And obviously you can ask questions in the chat and my colleague will answer. I'm going to share my screen and hopefully everyone can see. So what we've done is, because we've done it with a limited pilot at the moment with our global shared services, we actually created an entitled banner and with a HVA chatbot with IS Persona, and that's how we've limited to GSS only for the pilot. Obviously, when we move forward, we will even move forward to make the HVA global access, so the whole company, and move to the Employee Navigator, which is coming in on the 25.1. So we're launching the chatbot, and we actually have quite a few possibilities that we've enabled in the chatbot today. So obviously we've connected to ingest knowledge articles, not only from the IT RKM, but also from the business workflows knowledge management, where in business workflows we have our HR, finance, real estate and procurement lines of business. So I can actually search for something like what is my holiday entitlement. Yes, I made some spelling mistake. It doesn't matter because it still actually manages to quickly find that initial article and summarize slightly shortened to what the whole article would be. So it gives all the important details of what is in a knowledge article, but that's because that knowledge article was well written. There is occasions where even some poorly knowledge articles still actually get summarized and really displayed nicely. So the GPT is able to manage not very good articles for summarizations, but it can be that you need to improve your knowledge articles. And just to show that it is working, and we can just look for some IT articles as well, and then to obviously find some IT article that we got in the system. What we are using, because we're advising our pilot users to use the feedback, whether the article was actually good or bad. And so if it was good, we are really asking them to make sure that they click yes, it's a good response. If it was a bad, then we're asking them to leave the bad and leave a comment as well, because it will pop up with a little box where you can write a comment why you think it was bad. And we're using this feedback into the what is in patch 4 now available in to do reports against, and we doing that feedback loop back to the articles to improve the articles for the findability and the quality of the articles. So this is how we're doing this feedback loop from getting our GSS community to try it out with the answers and let us know if it's good, is it bad. Another use case is that we've actually published 4 forms, one for each line of business in our GPT. And for example, we can actually put something like here, my office chair is broken and will has fallen off and we need someone to take a look at it. And what the GPT is going to take a look, it's realized I am asking for assistance, I need help, and it's asking if I already picked the right form, and I can show you shortly that it's going to fill in the basic questions already. So it's not asking specifically for the summary and description, it's just putting it in based on that first initial comment. And I'm just going to say yes, I'm going to submit it. And this is then going to create a real estate procurement case, probably not quite created yet, but here we go, there's the case. And we can just show that we can like do a different one. So like, for example, I have my computer, it's rebooting, blue screen in, it's not working, help, I need something. And again, it's asking, it's identified that is creating the request, I'm creating a request, and this one's going to create an IT ticket, and we can actually just take a quick look and we should see an incident instead. So this is where we are able to publish forms in a way, and it's really important the way you do the publishing, you can actually use it to help its findability and selection. It can, when the chatbot isn't 100% sure what form you're actually requesting against, it will give you offer selection of, and to allow the customer, I'm not too sure which one I should be picking, here's 2 that I found that's could be related to what you're looking for, and it will, and then the customer can actually select. But for the most, it actually does a very good job at raising the topic request to the right line of business for us. Obviously, there's situations where we can't find the knowledge, or it doesn't know where the knowledge is. So, like the obvious is like from Ankita is like how to make pizza. And in the recent patches, they've actually introduced a fallback prompt. We haven't fully configured it yet, but because there's like no knowledge, and it's quite clear there's no knowledge that is available for making pizza, it's allowing to have a fallback prompt, which can then like lead the customer, okay, do I need to speak to an agent? Do we need to try again and rephrase it? Or, okay, you didn't have any information, I'll want to request. So that's the options that will allow customers not to be stuck in a dead end, but actually be able to move forward in the conversation as well.
John, can I just ask a quick question, if I may, just particularly related to that feedback loop? Are you finding, and I know this is the pilot phase with potentially more of a friendly audience in my GSS, but are you finding that the users who are consuming the knowledge are really providing good feedback?
Yes, we have to rely on that feedback, because we're hoping that the GSS community is not only the community that's making the articles, but they're also a community that consumes the articles as employees. But being in a closed community of GSS, we can really push our community hard to test it out, give the feedback, and accelerate that feedback loop to improve it. So we are then in a stage where we are really happy that, okay, let's enable it for the whole company. So yes, we are limited to our GSS, but we are pushing them and reminding them quite hard, test it out, give us feedback, because this is our tier 0 support. And if we can offer better tier 0 support to our employees, and they find articles really easier to find, then it can be that deflection to tier 1. Yes,
makes sense. Okay, so there's a bit of push, there's a bit of pull.
Yes,
I think it's fair to say. Thanks, John.
And yeah, so that's example of the demo of the MyGSS chat. We are obviously improving over time. We just got the 25.1 into our dev environment, so we're not fully configured, and there's new features that we're waiting to try out and enable. But we look forward to the future with what is coming down the line. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
We have a few questions, which I'm just going to, I think we've answered quite a lot of them. Thanks, Pratik and Kath, for knocking these questions as they come in. One from Adam that I don't think we've answered here, unless I haven't caught up with the chat, but to allow the creation of self-service tickets via the chatbot, were services built specifically, or is there a more simplified way of doing it, or they're pre-existing self-service items that are already integrated?
Okay, so because we were early adopters, the HVA GPT chatbot didn't support certain questions from DWP. We used DWP from the beginning since BMC, so we never did SOM. But because of the limitations at the time, we created separate service catalogs with limited questions to publish to the GPT. With the upcoming 25.1, there's more questions types now supported. So we'll be revisiting to publish the normal request forms that we have exposed on the portal itself. But when we are publishing, and I did actually put this, when we're publishing, we actually put in the request clarification phrase all the different types of topics that could be covered with that line of business. And this is how we actually get in the GPT to understand, okay, this topic that this customer is talking about is related to that. I'm going to pick this form over the IT one or the HR one or the finance one. So this is how we've actually achieved that. But yeah, now with 25.1, we'll be revisiting the main forms that we normally use, because we normally ask a lot more questions on some of them, which we're not able to achieve on an earlier version. I hope that.
Yeah, and maybe to add on this topic a little bit, because this was also something that we reflected on, because within our DWP portal we have numerous e-forms published. This was very much the approach that we took, and we had for all the different processes we had dedicated e-forms. So the struggle that we had was that users couldn't find them, so they were using the general e-forms mostly. So we saw that while it might not be really a right way to go, that we now have all of those, including very complex and long e-forms, offered to be requested in a conversational way, because none of us would like to answer 50 questions in a conversational way. Sometimes it's better to have it in this e-form version, but it's very important that we, for quick e-forms, have this conversational option. But for those more complex ones, we use HelixGPT to navigate people to the right places. And definitely this is something that after those 3 months we see as one of the key reflections, that users would love to see HelixGPT as their indeed navigator on the portal, to indicate them where to go, in which place they can find an e-form dedicated to the process that they are asking about. So definitely something that we've been discussing with BMC, and we're looking into this, because definitely something we learn and verified while using. And maybe I can also, Jamie, a little bit pick up one of the questions, because this is also what I had on the slide. I don't remember who asked about this, but it was about using keywords, how we encourage people to start writing in a conversational way rather than using keywords. And indeed, that was the struggle. We found out very quickly that we have those old habits that we already created within those 2 years from MyGSS relaunch. And in search box, people are used to just typing 2-3 words and they expect the results. And this is how they try to communicate with HelixGPT as well. So so far we've been mostly focusing on the introduction that you saw briefly when John was presenting. When they open the window of HelixGPT, they have a quick introduction of how to cooperate and what to expect from our MyGSS chatbot. And we do indicate there then that formulate questions, formulate problem statements rather than keywords. But we see that this is also something that takes time. It will not change in a day or two. I think this will also, together with the communication, the right communication, giving those tips by hand, whenever people are asked to follow certain communication approach. This is also about, I think, the more usage we see, the more likelihood it will be that those behaviors and those habits will also change, right? Until they still operate mostly on search box, they will keep using keywords, but the more value they see on those good cases when conversation with HelixGPT gives them a great result, they will learn that those questions are worth asking rather than keywords. But so far, it's mostly communication. Yeah. So I don't know, Jamie, if we have more time for questions, or should we finalize on the slide and then pick up some?
Yeah, I think maybe if you just take one or two more. One is, which has been partly answered by Pratik, is just in terms of how are you tracking the value that this is providing in terms of, I guess, call deflection, and also are you starting to track any requests that you're automating?
Yes, so for the metrics we are now observing is for sure the usage, right? How many sessions are triggered. We do measure how many requests, those that John was presenting, how many of those are created. And here, interesting thing, so far with the GSS audience, we don't see those numbers very high on the requests creation, but we also believe that this is something that we would expect with the audience at GSS who are quite mature users of the portal and who knows where to find something. But we also observe the changes that are happening within knowledge, how many modifications are made, how many movement, how many feedbacks through this feature of knowledge articles, feedbacks, sharing, how many of those are being raised. So I would say it's mostly about usage plus movement on knowledge. And this additional element is naturally the feedbacks from submitted when using HelixGPT. So far we crossed this line of having more positive feedbacks, which is a good trend, but definitely we would like to see it closer to the 70% and also to address this gap that we have of people using it, but not sharing feedback. And I guess that opens the whole discussion about feedback culture, which I guess we all try to find our ways to increase engagement in sharing feedback. But so far, it's a good starting point, but it's definitely something that we still want to emphasize and keep promoting across. Yeah.
Okay. The other one, which I think kind of sets you up for some other reflections on this slide, is what in general have you learned over the past several months?
Yes, so I think that naturally connects also with those reflections, right? That we are having here, and definitely we learned that when thinking about the knowledge database, which is, as I mentioned, crucial in this case for the feature. We've been creating it far from customer language. That was one of the big learnings that we had, that the way those articles are written was more in an expert voice rather than user's voice. And even if an expert stepping into the user, the chatbot user shoes, ask about it, they formulate things in a different way than they would when creating an article. So articles language, definitely a big learning for us. Also about this combination of habits that I mentioned on previous usage of DWP portal, but also the expectations that users have from day one based on the experience that they have with other solutions on the market, right? Majority of us all use in our private lives different chatbots, so we expect things like chit chats. We expect different behaviors of when you cooperate with such solution. So we needed to balance that. And also, I think for us, feel free, John, to chip in here. But I think also a big learning for us was that it was a right take that we decided to limit the source of the database for HelixGPT to our knowledge articles, because that was basically a clear sign that the answers you get relies on you as knowledge workers. So that was a very clear message to our GSS audience. So that was the big learning. And as we initially thought to scale the database and extend it to different intranet sites, some additional materials, so far we are standing still on the side that we would like to continue with just articles, at least for now, until we know that they are higher quality than they were before. I don't know if from the technical side, John, maybe that would be interesting if you have any, just with one reflection, like on the learnings that we had after this journey so far.
Yeah, definitely need to leverage into learning a little bit of prompt design. I think if you're on the configuration side and you want to tackle some of the issues, or BMC provide out of the box sample skills and prompts, yes, but you need to tweak them to meet your stakeholders requirements and that. So you always need to make a little bit of tweak here, tweak there. The out of the box is great, what you're getting today, but you still need to tweak them a little bit. So you do need to have that little bit of prompt engineering education done, I think, to make it fit for your company's purpose.
Yeah, and also we do it based on this feedback loop. So we analyze those feedbacks that people are sharing, and we observe what are the missing elements when they could have those conversations, right? And they share that the feedback is negative. Then we look, okay, what could be improved? And based on that, we learn about different, adjustments that we should do around prompt as well. Yeah. Okay, so maybe a few words now, looking at the time as well, on what is next, to maybe shed some light on what is coming for us on the roadmap. So we are now in the middle of migration to 2501, and I know that we have Ankita, you with us, so maybe you would like to say a few words on this.
Yeah, thanks, Jagoda. Yes, and I'm also looking at the time, so I will not take too long. So last release that we introduced, 25.1, that CAF has already alluded to it, that in the chat, that introduced a powerful agent or agentic use case called Employee Navigator, which aims towards simplifying and elevating the experience towards, again, end users, which Jamie, one of the personas that we are targeting. Jamie introduced that initially in the conversation. This is first of the many agents which we are working on, and you'll see more in the upcoming releases. How is it different from Employee Navigator from Virtual Agent? It offers similar conversational UI to end users through that you can access from Digital Workplace. And in addition to everything that you're doing in a virtual agent, you'd also be able to talk to your assistant. That means it has speech to text capability. It also has image recognition capability. That means you can upload an image or enter an image of your error message or whatever you are struggling with, and it'll be able to understand the error message in the image and recommend you with the respective knowledge article, which can help you to resolve the issue. John talked about catalog items and having because they were early adopters, so simplified textual questionnaire were available initially, but now you can enable a more complex catalog items, which has different various questionnaire like lookups and tabular format and radio buttons. So that is also available. And other capabilities as well, but in short, we are aiming to elevate the entire user experience to the next level, and it's only going to get better. I would like to plug in one of the webinars, which was done by CAF and the product team a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to put that in the chat as well, so you can learn more about what exactly Employee Navigator has introduced with 25.1 and what is upcoming in 25.2, which is coming later next month, I think. So let me paste that in the chat for you guys to watch.
Thank you, Ankita. We are also very, very excited to finalizing the migration and having this in production. So that's on the technical side, but naturally, with this soft launch, it's the change management and promotion campaign. It's not a one-time action. It needs another momentum. So definitely, after the 2501, we will plan for another campaign within GSS to create some noise about this once again, and also to prepare based on our learning so far, start preparing some guides and materials, promoting materials for the wider audience, so that we are ready when we decide to scale. And as I mentioned, we keep working towards more this 70% feedback ratio on the positive side, and on the since knowledge is we see that the far we go, we see that it's getting more and more about knowledge, no longer that much about technical and new requirements. It's mostly about knowledge. So we definitely plan to also create momentum and some campaign about this within GSS, especially for leaders to have this understanding of why this is so important. I think maybe this also summarized the approach that we took, the soft launch. It was quite brave and quite quick at the beginning, but it doesn't mean that the journey stops after this month, from production to test, from test environment to production. Fun starts when you enable it and you then work in this feedback loop. But we are not stopping, we are looking in the future also when it comes to the HelixGPT Service Collaborator. This is definitely on our spotlight as well. And I know that we hope to share a few words about this. So over to you back, Ankita.
Thanks, Jagoda. Before I start with the Service Collaborator, I'd like to thank John, Pratik, and Jagoda. I think it was an incredible journey, and it was a really big learning experience all throughout last 2 years, I think, since we have started working on it. Thank you so much for pushing us as well and letting me also, embark on this journey with you. So I learned a lot. Now let's move on, change gears from end users to agent persona. So we saw a lot, and John did a demo on how it is changing the experience for end users. But now we are changing gears towards agents. So how HelixGPT is really transforming the experience for your fulfillers or agents. The other agentic use case that we have introduced in 25.1 release is called Service Collaborator. This use case, it aims to transform the experience for caseworkers or IT support agents. I know this agent word is popping up a lot, agentic use case agent, but I'm going to call them fulfillers for the sake of not confusing everyone. So it is helping fulfillers, either in IT support agents or caseworkers, to help them prioritize, evaluate risk, and resolve issues faster. In summary, what we're doing is we are helping save time and providing them with relevant and accurate information to do their jobs faster. With this use case, Service Collaborator, our intention is to help support workers in getting this information in the UI, in one UI, in the context of the case of the incident that they're handling, which saves a lot of the time, because most of the time that we get feedback on is spent in finding the right information to resolve the instance. And it helps in improving the overall agent productivity. John, could you go back to resource section one before we move into HelixGPT? Lucky for me, John is already testing it. So John is already testing it. So what you're seeing right now is 25.1 version or product in DNV's dev environment. So usually what you normally have is the activity pane, and you have this resource section, which has all the relevant information that you have based on the to handle the incident, including incident templates, knowledge articles, similar incidents that has been resolved in the past, active incidents as well. Now with this use case, you got another section which is called Ask HelixGPT, which provides you insight from different knowledge articles that it found based on the summary and description of the incident. So as you can see that it has summarized in 5 bullet points, and it has found only one source, which it finds which is really relevant based on, again, the summary and the description which is there in the article. You can converse with HelixGPT here and ask follow-up questions if it doesn't solve the problem. So John, if you can just ask any question, I mean, it's your knowledge, so probably. So if it's not connectivity issue, it's you followed the knowledge article, didn't help you, so you can ask follow-up question, and it will go through the knowledge base, try to find the relevant information, go into your vector database and find knowledge article which is relevant to the question and give you that summary back. So now, as you see, it has given up another knowledge article. So you can, if that solved the problem, you can from here, you can pin the knowledge article. You can also copy the text that you are saying and you can paste it in the chat, or you can also email it to thanks John. You're following up with my talk track, or you can send the email directly from here, this insight, to the end users, or just send the email from here. So that is available from the single UI. So don't have to switch UIs. Don't have to go to different knowledge sources. All of the different knowledge sources that you have connected with HelixGPT, including your Helix knowledge management or IT or business workflow knowledge or any other knowledge, external knowledge source, you're getting all that information here in the context of the incident. There's also another use case that we introduced, which is called global search, which is also, if you can, which you see at the top of the screen. Now it's loading here, which is again conversational UI search, which is all for your fulfillers to browse and chat with your knowledge base. Again, it can be Helix knowledge or external knowledge sources as well in the same UI. So you can ask any question and it will find, again, knowledge articles from different knowledge sources and provide answers in this one UI. There's a lot that is coming in both these use cases. That is the agent assist that we saw in the previous screen or in this screen as well, in which you would have incident summarization to help agents in understanding the incidents better, summarization of activity logs, suggestion of draft resolution notes, and it will also include the resolution of the past incidents as well. So this is only going to get better, and there's a lot coming on the roadmap for this as well. I'm going to plug in another webinar, which we did a couple of weeks ago, which talks this more in detail. So I'm going to send the link, paste that link in the chat as well, so you guys can go and watch that. I'm not sure if there are any questions, Jamie, that we can address here, but I was just looking conscious of the time.
Thanks, Ankita. There are a few questions that we haven't answered. So John and Pratik, if you wouldn't mind just kind of scanning that over the next few minutes just to make sure that we've answered. But thank you very much, Ankita and John there. Great double act to finish on. I'm just going to launch a poll very quickly as I'm loading up the quiz. So hopefully that will be in your on your screens in just a moment. This is just asking if you'd like somebody from BMC to reach out to further discuss anything that you've seen today around HelixGPT. And I will get your aligned account team to reach out to you. So quiz time. There's going to be 3 questions here, guys. If I can ask you to load up with this QR code, put your full name and at least your initial of your surname and your company, just to help me once we have the winner, just to avoid as well any controversy. And as we do every time, only our customers can win the prize. It will be a bottle of champagne or something similar if you don't drink champagne. And BMC is, as usual, and our partners, sorry guys, can't win this, but you can obviously win kudos. And I think I should probably say that either John, Jagoda and Pratik probably can't win this either. So we'll give this 30 seconds before we go. Nice to see some familiar names that are popping up. Right, we're going to start in 5 seconds, guys. So get in there quickly. We're going. What most accurately describes the services provided by DNV? Maybe a bit of a tricky one to start. Maritime, cybersecurity, and energy services are 3 of the areas I think that best describes what they do. There are lots of other areas as well. It's a very interesting, diverse business. Looks like Mike Chapman's taken an early lead. He's won this before. I think he won this on the last one. So looking to defend his crown. How many DNV GSS global centers are there? In hindsight, we probably didn't need to leave so much time. And the answer is 2. So about a third of you got that right. Oof. Mike is still in the lead. Can Thomas or somebody else pip him on the final question? Here it comes. What are the 3 stages of the DNV's feedback loop? Can Mike win for the second time? Back-to-back champion. Let's find out. Oh, he's done it. Congrats, Mike. Well done to you, sir. I think I've already got the shipping details lined up, so I should be able to pull the trigger on that one quite quickly. Last thing, guys, if you're still on, I'll just flash up my email address here, which you should have potentially from the invite anyway. But if you want to know any more, you're not sure who to reach out to, please reach out to me. My email is actually james_swales@bmc.com. Final thing for me to say is thank you so much to Jagoda, to John and Pratik for taking the time to come and share your story. If there's anyone out there who would think that this community would benefit from your story, then please let me know and we can look at getting you on a future Helix Admin Forum.